their first year at the high school, he'd get their attention real good. The first couple days, the first day of class, he'd have a group of freshmen, and he really was a good guy, but he could get gruff if he needed to, and he would let them because he knew they were going to get rowdy. I mean, they're just going to school, first day of school, and he'd let them get a little rowdy, and he'd tell them, y'all need to settle down. And then they'd get rowdy again, and he had an ice pick. He had an ice pick on his desk, and he'd say, "I said, quiet down." He'd jam it into his leg.
Shut up! He was scaring the fuck
out. He'd scare them. I mean, everybody just they were like, "What did he just do? He just stabbed himself in the leg."
Oh wow!
And he'd show them. And he had a couple of them. And then he was good enough because he was old. I mean, gosh, that's 40 years ago. And he was probably 65 then. He was almost retirement. He could have retired, and he was still there. So you figure in the 80s, he probably had his leg was probably from the 50s. Late 40s, 50s. And he'd gotten where he could actually make them.
Really?
Just the wood part, and then they fabricated a socket. Now they've gotten obviously good now. But you could get, again, you got to determine that with the docs and the prosthetists. But, they make knee mechanisms, like now, even without the battery mechanism, it will bend. But they make some now that as you shift your weight across it and step to the toe and come off of it, it automatically bends as it swings through without a battery. And it swings through, and then as soon as you land on the heel, it locks until the weight shifts across. Now, they've gotten a lot better with those mechanisms. Yeah, takes a little learning.
That's how my first one was.
And then when you get ready to sit down, you got to load the toe so it'll bend and then sit.
Right. My first one like that.
So, they've gotten better in those mechanisms now, too. Again, you got to decide what you want. But in those type of legs, you got less to go wrong than with a battery.
Right. And it also depends on your activity.
Right.
Your age,
Yeah.
When I was young, I had one that was I could just about run it.
Oh, yeah.
So I was very active then.
Right.
But when I moved to Ohio, I was a little bit older.
Yep.
So I just needed basically.
Right.
And see, when we first got together, he was still vibrant and young. I wanted him to get one of those legs with the swoop thing. That's what I wanted him to do because we had kids. You know what I'm saying? Be active with the kid. He looked at me like, "Do you really think I'm about to get out here?"
I ain't got no swoop.
He said,
I mean, you gotta understand. When it comes to magnets, you gotta work it. You don't work it properly. You don't walk right.
Right.
And it's your hips.
Right.
You gotta worry about that because you get in the habit of doing one thing and they say
mm-hmm.
stop aching and
right. Well, it throws everything else off.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to get the right fit.
Right.
But you need to continue to do the things for basic strengthening, like we talked. I mean, there's nothing. I don't need to put you through that. You need to do it 3 or 4 times a day.
Right.
On your days when you can. On dialysis days, which you're doing 4 of those right now, right?
Are they gonna change that? Those are the days I do the most.
Well, because you're sitting there, right?
No, because he's getting out. But he got to walk to the car.
Right.
I have to walk in.
Right.
And then when I get off, like, she wasn't with me yesterday, I had to make several stops.
Yep.
And I had to walk more.
Right.
I had to do stairs.
Yep.
And, like I said, those are the days I do most.
So, and that's okay. That's good.
For me, doing it while I'm doing is a hill.
Right. Right.
But that's because I got used to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're because of the fit issue and the battery issue.
Right.
I mean, you're swimming upstream is what you're doing. Though. I mean, you're fighting the current. And if you could get that fixed, I mean, better because you know what well, you know what it's like to operate when the leg's working right.
And it's attitude. I mean, it's mental.
Yeah.
I have to psych myself up because I know what's coming.
Right.
I know how I'm gonna feel. And most time, I'm not in the mood to feel it.
Right. Right.
But I know it's got to be done.
Right.
So I can through.
Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that about you because, I mean, like you just said, you know it's got to be done. You go do it. I see some people.
They don't want to do it.
They just saying.
And I feel like that's sometimes.
Right.
You know, but yeah.
And that's the reality of it. And you got to at least acknowledge it.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean, I tell folks, you know, I don't have from a work standpoint. I love my work. There's never a day I don't want to go to work because of work.
Right.
There's days I don't want to do nothing.
Right.
We all got those.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never because of work. And so, like you're talking about, you know, there are times when you don't want to do that. You don't like what you got to do, but you got to do it.
You got to do it. Yeah.
And that keeps you going.
Right.
And like I said, I think you're doing great. I'm just happy that we can at least keep an eye on you. But there's really nothing new. If you can do the things to keep the flexibility in the hip,
right,
and keep the basic strength around it, yeah, walking does that. But walking also right now, because of how that's not fitting right, it's putting stress on everything else. And you've got to do certain things to get to appointments and get to all of that. You want that to be as uneventful as possible.
I would like for it to be.
So, at least whatever happened yesterday with community health, hopefully that started the process.
Mm-hmm.
When you follow up with her by video next week, just say, I mean, if you haven't heard anything, you know, just say, hey, I haven't heard nothing.
Right.
You know, and then you start with the primary. I mean, this is something I don't think it should not take months to get this taken care of.
No, the thing is, if it's like Ohio, I know in Ohio there are different other places I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't seen different other places here,
right,
and it probably might be,
right,
but I don't know.
Do you have? I mean, with the suspension you've got now, as you're in the socket right now, do you have a liner on top of it?
No, I don't wear a liner.
So you just got straight leg down there.
Straight leg. I use lotion.
Do you have a liner?
No, I don't use a liner.
Never had a liner.
No. I've always just.
What is a liner?
It's a cover where you put over your stub that you stick in your leg that helps with the suction.
Okay.
But I never used one. Never had one.
And see, they had him at first. They had that pulley bag for that.
That was to pull it on.
Right, so it could be tight, snug fit. But as he got older, it was harder for him to do that.
Oh, it was hard.
It looked like a struggle for me to pull the bag out that little hole.
Keep working with it.
Right, and then you had that button.
Then you could just use lotion and slip it on. As long as you ain't got a lot of lotion on, it'll dry up and fit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm trying to find out.
And it's like a rubbery thing.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. 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 Okay.
But again, that's when you got to determine kind of what the best route's going to be.
Right.
Part of it's what you're comfortable with, what you know, what you're willing to do. My biggest thing is I want you to have, and you get to make that choice, but I want you to have what's going to give you the best function with the least amount of effort.
Exactly.
I mean, because it takes a lot of energy, you know.
When I was young, that was my best. Actually, was just to put lotion on and slip it on.
Right.
It's faster. It dried faster.
Right.
But now, I know that I'm getting older, so I know I'm losing weight here and there. You know, my bones ain't as strong as me. So the suction is gonna. I won't be as mobile as I was.
Right.
This dude weighed 121 pounds.
Yeah, well,
I don't like that at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm 23 pounds lighter than what I used to be. 43 pounds lighter than I used to be.
Okay, now.
But I go to the age and less activity.
Well, there's truth in that. And so you got to find out where that's going to level off at.
Right.
If that's going to level off here, fine. If it's going
Right.
to level off at 130 or 135, that's fine. But you need to determine that.
Well, I'm hoping that my appetite come back, and I can pick up at least another 20 pounds at least. That's what I would like.
If I got anything to do with it, yeah, boy.
140, 150 be fine for me.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I do not know. I'm so new to Wake Med in this area. I don't know who all's up here as far as prosthetic folks.
Right.
I know there's a hanger group. I know there's somebody. I think there's somebody over at Duke. I'm sure there's all of those. If you don't get anywhere with anything here local, I've got a team down in Pinehurst. That's an hour and a half drive down there. But there's a group down there that I worked with for 18 years. As I was doing home care therapy, there were the folks there's two groups in Pinehurst. But there's one I work with the most.
Right.
They do bracing and prosthetic stuff.
Okay.
But they would be an option.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a drive.
It'll be cool to do some sightseeing.
But they would be a resource.
Right.
Okay.
Not be a good idea for me, no, because at this point, it has to be done.
Right.
And, I need someone that will work with me that's able to without no restrictions.
Yeah. Well, the thing I know about that group, both of those groups down there, they're both great. But I know one group better than the other.
Right.
So we just have to wait till after his doctor's appointment on the 4th.
Yeah.
And then make a
Do
decision.
anything, period.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna do nothing, for the simple fact is when they told you they wasn't messing with you when I first got down here.
Well, they said you done a referral. So now that I got a done two referrals.
Yeah. Hopefully that gets the wheels turning.
Yeah.
The ball rolling. Yeah. Because that's really what needs to happen. Because if you had that, if that wasn't an issue, man, you'd be going all over the place.
Right. I'd be fine.
You'd be swooshing everywhere. Let's see where that takes us.
Right.
Because I get to come back next week. Let's see. Right now, I'm scheduled once each of the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
That gets us the other side of that primary visit on the 4th as well.
Right.
So definitely by then, hopefully we know something,
Mhm.
and we'll just go from there.
Okay. You gonna come same time next week?
Let me see. See what else I got going on next Wednesday.
Okay. Ooh, lobster tacos.
Alright. He's there. She is there. I don't know who that lady is. She lives in Fuquay.
Now it don't matter. I was just wondering, whatever's convenient for you, because regardless, whether I'm here or not, you just gonna have to give him a heads up,
Yeah.
and he'll have to come down to let you in. That's all. And we're done with he's done with dialysis by 1.
Okay. But Wednesday's the off day.
Mhm.
Wednesday off day.
Let's try. Is morning okay like this?
Sure.
Let's plan on this.
Okay.
Okay, because I may try to see the lady over in Fuquay early, and
Okay.
then come here and work my way this direction and back around.
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna drop you into that 10:15 slot, and we'll go from there. Yeah, my hope is that I'm gonna get to where I'm covering down this way, here over to Clayton, back over to Fuquay and Anger. I like that better than up in Raleigh.
Yeah.
I don't like the traffic. I don't like.
Oh my God. That's one thing I don't miss.
So I'm just.
We done been in that traffic 2 times, and I'm like,
I
what the
just,
hell?
I don't like it. I mean, I'm doing it because people need to be seen, but we're trying to get new staff settled to where they can do that. But I'm an old dude. I want to be out. I'm out in the country. This ain't country. This right here, this interchange right here with 40 and 42, it's a mess. And it is terrible, as you've probably found out already in the afternoon.
And
morning.
We ain't did the afternoon yet.
We're trying to go somewhere in the morning with work, people starting work, and in the evening from say 4 to about 6. This is terrible.
Terrible, yeah.
Other than that, it ain't bad.
Yeah, we was in it one morning leaving here.
Yesterday morning, it's crazy. Took me 20 minutes just to get from here to down Rock Park Road.
Yeah. Yep. I learned that real quick.
Yeah, they traffic out here ain't no joke, and I don't even know why that's like that though.
Well,
Yeah, you do.
Well, no, I don't.
Everybody was sad all of a sudden. They were tired of city life and want to move out towards the country.
Oh, okay.
And everything out here is booming, house developments,
It is.
everything. All this. When I was growing up, this was all woods.
Right.
This was all woods. All of a sudden, about the late 1990s, people started coming out the
Well,
woods.
it's like one of my early patients when I moved up here. I was talking to. They live down where Rock Quarry and East Garner Road meet.
Right.
I'm talking about down there.
You're talking
All
about.
right, so they live down close to there. And the gentleman was telling me, he said, "You live in Fuquay?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Hadn't been that long ago. You could get from one end of Fuquay to the other in 5 minutes." He said, "You can't do that anymore." I said, "You're right."
Yeah, you come out this way, you see them with the back corn.
And it's happening everywhere.
Mm.
I mean, except places back like where I come from, back in where I'm from in the mountains of Virginia, ain't nothing happening there. I mean, I tell folks, they kind of find it hard to believe. The county I lived in was the most populous one along the border where we
Mhm.
live, and that town still doesn't have it about. It might have 10 stoplights in town. That's it. And if you go to the next county up, if you go to the next county north along the border, there's only 4,500 people live in the whole county.
Wow.
And there's 2 stoplights in the whole county. If you go to the next county above it, there's not a stoplight in the whole county. There's 2,200 people. That's it.
Mm.
In the whole county. Now, if you go south out of my town, the next county there's got about 4,500 people. And I think there's 1 stoplight in that county.
Mm.
There ain't nothing there. Which can be good.
Yeah.
It's peaceful. But if you need anything significant, you gotta drive an hour and a half.
All right.
Which was fine by me. I didn't care.
Yeah, so it'd be fine by me. It'd be quiet. Less activity, but
But
Oh.
some people like the activity. You know, and I get that.
I don't know. I was thinking about that too, whether or not we should move to the country. I just don't want the stores to be like miles and miles away. That's all.
Right. And that's one of the you gotta find where that balance is.
Yeah.
So all right, you look good on your feet. Keep doing the stuff you're doing. Let's see what happens in the next week and we'll go from there.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All right, there's that. I'll put it back where I found it. There we go. Got my phone. All right. I'm out.
Well, thank you again, and you have a good day.
You look good. Have a good one.
All right, that's now.
All right.
And PT is over with, and that is the first start of our morning. And good morning to you, my pretties. And welcome to Pretty's World as we go down this dialysis road of life. Thanks for joining us.